I've returned to the Neatline dashboard. And to follow along with the PDF that I made, we're now at number 2, making a link between your map and the narrative. So back in the Neatline dashboard, locate your map again, and this time we're going to work in the Neatline editor. So to do that, we go to the town's name, right, the name of our exhibit, and click on that. It'll open up the Neatline editor. Once it's open, which may take a little while, I guess, we want to create a new record. Now, in order to get those links between the map and the text that appears on the side of the map, we have to actually create a new record. So make sure that records is highlighted, and then you click on new record. Now, the way that we make the link between the text and the map is we actually have to create some sort of identifying mark. We're going to do this by creating a slug. This will be a shorthand that will make the link between the text that we highlight on the map, on the text side of the panel, to an actual point on the map, which is where our record will be. So let's say that I wanted to actually make some sort of identifying mark for this creek. This is Mill Creek, it runs through Lowville. So let's just say I wanted to name it Creek, just as a short form. Now if you wanted it to be 2 words, you actually have to use a dash. So you can use Mill dash Creek like this. You have to remember this. This is the thing that you do have to remember because we won't have direct access to look at it once we close this window. So I'm going to use Mill dash Creek, and that's going to be my identifying mark for this. Title of this is actually Mill Creek. Okay. Now in the body of the text, I want to explain what Mill Creek is. So Mill Creek is a tributary. Actually, let's just say Mill Creek is a small river that runs through Lowville. It is a tributary of the Black River. Okay, the Black River is way over here. You can't see it, it's out of the view. But I wanted to include that information in here anyway. So I can type it in here in the body, but I don't have any sort of editing capability. Say I wanted to link to this right here. I wanted to take you to the Black River. I can't do that. So let's go into Edit HTML window. And now I can actually work with this. I can either work with it in the source form. You can see the paragraph tags at the beginning and the end. Or you can work with it in this form here. Now if I hit return there, you'll see that it actually added a non-breaking space with paragraph tags and the padding around that. That's fine, because what I want to do here after this space is actually add an image. So say I wanted to find Mill Creek in Lowville. Go to images. This looks like a nice image of somebody riding Mill Creek. Go to the website. Now, I need a URL for this image, but I can't use this URL. This is not the image. This would actually try to take me to the website. What I want is the image URL, which is different. So let's go to View Image when we right-click. So what I did is I right-clicked on the image, went to View Image. Okay, now you'll see that the URL actually has JPEG at the end of it. That's the one that you want. So copy that. Let's go into the Neatline editor and click on this little image icon. That's where I enter the URL. And you can see this the full URL with HTTP protocol / then the website. And note that it also includes JPEG at the end. Now, I don't want it to be 800 pixels wide. That's way too big. Let's reduce it to 200. And you can see this little lock here will make these proportional to one another. You can set a horizontal space. If I gave it 10 pixels, it actually indents it 10. If I gave it a vertical space, it actually gives me vertical space before and after it. But I don't want any spaces. I just want it to be embedded in the text like that. So, okay, that looks good. Now say I wanted to add a map. I want to show you where this river is. So let's say we go to Google Maps. We'll navigate to Lowville, New York. Now you remember how you got the embed code before you clicked on menu here. We're going to embed an iframe in this as well, but we don't have to do any editing for this iframe. So we don't have any short form for Neatline like we did whenever we used the WordPress blog. You're just going to copy the entire iframe source here, copy that, go back to the editor. Now we don't want to put that iframe source in here. That's going to format this text as actually being HTML text. Instead, you want to embed that using the source code. So after this breaking space here, that will give it a nice break between the image and the map. Enter the iframe source here. Now, have a look at it. Okay, it's quite a bit bigger than the image that I put in. Well, I don't want it to be that big. I want it to be a little bit smaller. So let's go back to source code. I can change the width of it here. I can change the width of the frame to be, let's say, 200 to match our image. Okay, let's have a look at that. Oh, that's too small. All right, well, say let's just widen both of those by 100. Let's go back to source and let's say we'll make it 300 instead because it's going to show up in a little like dialog box that pops up beside the map. So 300 looks good. How do I want to change this? Well, look at this. It says width and height right here. It's 200 and 150, but those are proportional. If I change that to 300, it will leave the height 150, so we're going to get a distorted image. So why don't we go back and just use the convenience of this editor and double click there. Let's change it back. So I just double clicked on the image, and that brought up this image properties box again. Okay, now they're the same size. That looks much better. Okay, now what if I wanted to, say, link to the Black River and I had a website that I wanted to link it to? Let's say we wanted to link it to this website, the Black River, New York. Throw caution to the wind. I can copy that, right? I highlighted the text, create a link, put that in here. Actually, it gives the protocol before. I don't want it to open in this window. I want it to open up in some other new window. Okay, and that makes a link to it. Now, if you go to the source code, you can actually see that it made the A tag, the href. It gave the actual website, and then this is the text that is linked. Closing tag, right? Also gives this attribute target, which will open it into a new blank window. All right, so let's have a look. That looks nice. Okay, so to get back out of this editor, you click on this minimize tag here. And you can see when we're back in the editor that it has all of that information right here written in HTML. So you want to make sure that you save it at this point before we move between tags. Okay, good. The record was saved successfully. Now, bring that back, zoom in a little. Okay. Now I want to link this information to a point on the map. To do that, I scroll up and then I click on map here. So see, it's on navigate now. We're going to draw a point. And I'm going to place the point here on Mill Creek. And you can see that this will still create points, right? We don't want to do that though. Let's move it off of that. So now I can click on the map and it won't make any new points. But I don't want that to be as big. I want it to look nicer and smaller like that. So let's go and change the style of it. Let's go and make it, first of all, let's make the width of that dark line only 1. That looks nicer. Okay, let's make the circle smaller. We'll make it 5. That looks more like the other point that I have there. And if you wanted to change the color, you can do it here. You can change the color of what it looks like here. And you can change the color when it's selected. So let's say when it's selected, I want it to turn orange. Okay. So that's when it's selected. It'll change color. Oops. All right, so I want it to also zoom to this point if it's not already there. So use current viewport as default. Now save that. Okay, the record was saved. Now let's click out of this record, so you can close out of the record here. And let's go back to Omeka. So you can see the actual record is created. You have a list of it now. These are other ones that I created before. This is the one I just created. Let's go back to Omeka and preview this and see what we've made. Scroll down to yours, click on full screen view. Now, when I click, see how when I hover over it, it changes to orange. Pops up, it says Mill Creek at the top there. When I click on it, I actually get this box with the information I put in. Click there, opens up the new page. Eventually, there it is, right? So close out of that, right? But now I want, whenever you see this text, I want to highlight that text and link it to that point. The next video will show us how to do that.